We're now going to implement our stretchy system on our tongue. And this is going to imply creating an expression to stretch our tongue. I have a demo on here already where the expression is done. And you'll notice it doesn't look really any different when I move it. However, when I grab the ending of our tongue and I translate it, you see how now my tongue stretches like that. I can even grab these guys and bring them out and do that type of stuff. Yeah, see, we got a stretchy tongue. Okay, so that's what we're going to implement. And this is the beginning level stretchy system. So I'm going to reopen the previous scene before I've done that. Okay, and then we'll move it and see. You notice it doesn't do that now. Okay, so to start off with is that we're going to have to start a very base expression. And that's going to be this first podcast on expression is just going over setting up our expression. So I'm going to go back to my channel box. I'm going to select any attribute in here, and I go to edit, and it will highlight my expression one will be selectable. Okay, so by default, the expression editor is set to expression object attribute name. And this is awful because every time you select something, what it's going to do is it's going to erase all your code that you're going to put in here. So I'm going to put expression by name in here, and I'm going to type in here tongue exp for expression. Okay, it does not create an expression until we type a first line of code in. And I'm probably pretty sure, depending upon if this is your first expression or second expression, I talked about this new expression button should be clear expression, mean delete everything. So we're going to do a simple print in here, all lowercase, and then in parentheses, which is shift 9 and 0, I'm putting a semicolon. So inside those parentheses, I'm going to just print out in double quotes, hi. I'm going to edit. I just want to create my first expression onto it. And you can see when I slide back and forth, it says hi down there. Okay. So now that I have an expression created that we can see it up there, we're going to actually start tying in all our joints in here. What we want to do is that these joints here, we're going to want to extend down the x-axis. Now this first joint has y and z values, but its child only has translate x. So if I click this in middle mouse drag, you can see how the tongue squashes and stretches. I'm going to undo that. If I shift grab the second one on there, it only has translate x2, and you can see how together they squash and stretch our tongue. That's what we're going to tie into. We're going to tie on the children, the second, third, and last joint, the fourth joints, translate x values. So our first thing is we're going to need to actually get our joints at their resting position. This is like if you're calculating or measuring a spring and you want to see how much stress is put on something, we first calculate what the spring is at rest. So our tongue right now on translate x is 7.26. So we want to remember that value. So I'm going to take my name and hit Command C and go in here and hit Command V in the expression editor. I'm going to say .tx, and that's translate x. And I'm going to put the equal operator, which is just assigning a value into translate x. The value I want to assign into translate x is 7.26, and I put a semicolon. We always end our expression lines with a semicolon to show that's the end of the line. It's what's called a line terminator. Okay, so if I hit edit now, it's going to go through, assuming our spelling on tongue to bind is correct, and it did. And you notice it didn't do anything because it's already at 7.26. Also, is this value going to be different for yours? It could be. The values could definitely be different on it. Most likely they will be. I don't know how much of a difference on here, but you'll definitely have to check your joint to see what the values are going to be on it. So now we're going to go down to the next joint. I'm going to grab that one, Command C. Go to the next line, Command V, type in TX. Did you also notice I didn't type in translate X? It did that automatically, which is good. It also tells me that the object exists. It only does that if it makes a connection. And I'm going to say equals, and we're going to assign to this one 5.557, because that's what the value is, semicolon. I can go down to the next one. I'm going to pick walk, I'm going to press down on my keyboard. And there's my tongue for waist. .tx. I'm going to assign in that one 5.68, semicolon. Hit edit. Okay, good. So they're all connected, and it's not really doing anything at this point. But this is pretty much just starting ourselves off. The next thing I want to talk about will be setting up the actual stretchy part of it. This was just kind of prepping us and getting us started off with an expression and going in here and seeing, hey, if I change these values, if I increase or decrease these values, it's going to manipulate and change what's in here. Okay, so that's just our starting point.